And I remember January 8th, she was standing
Check, check.
Oh, see if you stand.
I don't want it. I don't want to bother with it. It's big and clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let it be. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Yeah. If I was doing a whole service, it'd be different.
Just pull it down. Speak on it.
What? You want me to sit down? Cheshire Cat. want to acknowledge John, but I was gonna, oh, that's for Bernadette's.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go say hi.
Perfect.
Yes, yes, they sent it. Jackie? I believe Renee is going to be pretty late. Sorry? So we start here. gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Good morning. Welcome to you all. My name's Alec Campbell. I've been a resident with my wife at Unitarian House for the last 12 and a bit years, and it's my delight to be your MC this morning. We've come together this morning to celebrate with joy and thanksgiving the gift of our home, Unitarian House of Ottawa, which welcomed its first residents 40 years ago this year. And this morning, as we celebrate this place we call home, we will hear a lot about home. And so we begin this service with an acknowledgement that this part of the earth and of Canada, this very land on which our city and this church and Unitarian House are built, is the traditional, unsurrendered and unceded territory of the actual homeland of the Algonquin Anishinaabe peoples. And with Canadians everywhere, we acknowledge we are challenged to work for reconciliation. I welcome especially this morning those residents who couldn't come over to the church, but who are in the lounge at Unitarian House watching the live stream of the service. So welcome. For the singing this morning, you will have in your orders of service, you'll see all the songs we're going to sing. Where the words are in bold, that's where you're going to be singing. Some of the songs the choir will sing first. We'll sing it through first, and then you'll all come in. One of the songs you'll find the verses are not in bold. The choir will sing those, and you come in with the chorus once you've learnt it. It's now my honor to welcome to the podium Melanie Lefebvre, our Executive Director.
Good morning. My name is Melanie Lefebvre. I'm the Executive Director of Unitarian House of Ottawa. It's an honor for me to be here today speaking with you in celebration of our 40th anniversary. Almost 3 years ago, when I joined UHO, I was astonished to learn that I was but the 4th Executive Director in all this time. Agnes Fennell, Oris Redalock, and Christina O'Neill, which is here today. These ladies paved the road for a strong, united community. They left big shoes to fill, and I endeavor to fill them every day and make them proud. Only 4 and 40 years. That's because UHO was built on strong principles of social responsibility, engagement, and being resolute in the face of adversity, all of which transcend time. The vision was to provide affordable housing for seniors while creating a strong community of conscientious humans committed to living their best lives. Although UHO could have turned the page on affordable housing after the terms and conditions of the operating agreement had been met, our board chose to stay the course. Affordable housing remains a core value. Our resident engagement is second to none. And I can say that with confidence. Having worked in the seniors housing industry for over 25 years, I've never seen another place like this. Our residents, staff, families, and volunteers are giving. They're kind and share a sense of responsibility for our elders and our neighbors. We volunteer, create, and cooperate on programs that make a difference in our community. We have inclusive programs where residents are encouraged to support each other, no matter what their culture, religion, or preferences. We speak openly without fear of judgment, and even provide wisdom to the generations behind us so that they may in turn be brought into the fold and preserve UHO's principles for another 40 years. We live stronger, healthier, happier lives. Proof that engagement is one of the keys to longevity. We are resolute in the face of adversity. Whether we are challenged by outbreaks, lockdowns, or a mountain of rubble from LRT excavation, we continue to hold the line. We can do this, of course, because of our strong ties with our community at large, some of whom are here today supporting us in our celebration. So I'd like to acknowledge a few people with us. So Councillor Teresa Kavanaugh, our UHO Board President Jackie Holtzman. Thank you for joining us today. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge, for just my part, Reverend Eric Meter, and I invite him to the podium, share a few thoughts on Unitarian House and our 40th anniversary celebration. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Welcome to each and every one of you here and all those watching from across the way. I'm the Reverend Eric Meter, and I've had the pleasure and the honor of serving this congregation for a little under 3 years now. Every Sunday morning, when I'm looking out at the congregation, I also see the bust of Dr. Lada Hishmanova, who years ago did more than anyone else to make the term Unitarian a household term in this country. And I'm including my esteemed colleagues in the clergy. It was Dr. Lada that put Unitarianism on the map in Canada. A refugee from war-torn Europe, she concerned herself with making sure there was care for those most at risk, children and the elderly. Unsurprisingly, those values, the values of the Unitarian Service Committee, became part of the bedrock of this community. When we outgrew our former home over on Elgin Street and moved here in the late 60s, we set our sights on childcare and our seniors. River Parkway Children's Center was established first, and then the Unitarian House of Ottawa was incorporated in early 1975. Of course, nothing of that scope is manifest overnight. Groundbreaking didn't take place until March of '83, with Jackie Holtzman in attendance as the city's youngest ever alderman. Yes, you were. She'll pay me. Oh, and we have the mayor with us. Welcome, sir. Glad you're with us. Today, we celebrate 40 years of occupancy, 40 years of vitality, 40 years of hopes and dreams, 40 years in which mountains have risen and begun to slip away into the river. 40 years of hope and looking forward to the next 40 years and more. Let me pray now. Let us pray. We meet this morning on holy ground, For that place is holy where lives touch, love moves, hope stirs. And we ask for the Spirit of life's continued blessing on all who live and work and volunteer at Unitarian House, this home, a place of joy, love, friendship, and wonder. How much we need this moment before the eternal, the time to be in reverence before the ultimate, the pause that renews, the interlude that refreshes, the space that gives us room to be. And in that space, let us sing.
It is now time for our first song, What a Wonderful World. The choir will sing it first, and then I invite you all to stand and sing it through the second time. You can stand now if you wish.
Well, we have talents. Indeed, we do. You have a program so that you know that I'm Jackie Holzman, the chair of the president of the board, and I'm delighted to be here today, not only as the president of the board, but as a resident, and I want to welcome some of our board members that are here. If you could just quickly stand or raise your hand. Bert, you're there, and Bruce, and Brian is on the stage here, and Sandra, the Residents Association president, Mary Ellen, who's the representative of the first, and Chris, you're here, and Janice, you're here someplace too. Yeah, in the back there. So did I miss anybody? No. Okay, well, thank you on behalf of the board for being here today. It's been a tough year. It's been a lot of pressure, and we've heard about the LRT. We know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not the train coming at us. So how does one adequately describe a mission and thank the visionaries? I want to tell you a story, a good news story, about a dreamer. It's a great story. Once upon a time, in the early 1970s, the first Unitarian Social Responsibility Committee decided that there was need for affordable housing for seniors. The dreamer, the visionary, is right here with us today. Werner Dexel, we're thrilled to hear. Yeah. Werner had a dream, and he's here with his family, and we're so thrilled that you're here. And he shared the dream with Lloyd Francis, and I think his family are here as well, and they acquired this. Thank you very much for being here, Paul. They wanted, you're here too, thank you. It's very hard when you see, because that song always brings tears to the eyes, including the allergies, it doesn't help. So they wanted to build a non-profit seniors community with no government operating funds. They wanted seniors from all walks of life, all backgrounds, a variety of resources, just like Melanie described, where men and women could live as long as they can, and as well as they can, and as independent as they can, make their own decisions. Aging in place is not a new concept. They knew it in the 70s. A small group, very determined, 1982, a planning workshop right in the fellowship hall. Many of the people whose names are in the program were there. I was there too. John Rutherford, you're here, you were there as well. So I wanted to just highlight just a few of the stories that you may not know about. Frida Doherty, she was there, and we're delighted that David and his family are here to join us. Is there anybody else here that's from 1982, those early years, 1984, that's not listed or that I haven't mentioned? If so, put your hand up so we can see and acknowledge. I think the wonderful program has acknowledged everybody that was involved. But I have a personal story, and you've heard it before. John Rutherford and I were at that 1982 planning workshop over there, and we had our first date 40 years ago in December 1984, right in the dining room at Unitarian House. So the board and the residents thank all of you, all of our visionaries. But they have stories. They made decisions, and some of them I wish we had thought about. Werner, you were so right. We should have had 7 stories. You knew that. We have a long waiting list. And remember the decision that the dining room would be a cafeteria? That was quite a decision, too. We remember Helen Tape and Paramed, who were hired by Agnes Fennell because the board was not able to provide the services in the early days, and we had to contract out to Paramed. And Kim, our night nurse, who's been here 39 years, and Danny and Allison, our staff that have been here almost 39 years, they have stories, too. Do you remember the Bytown boilers? And I'm glad that Wolf Olsher is here, because they sat, these little people from the Unitarian House, they sat on the house on the corner of where the condominium is now, and they sat there and they counted the traffic. Because when they asked me as a city councillor for a traffic control signal, the experts at Regional Planning Committee said, The statistics aren't there. So all these people from Unitarian House sat on the corner of the Bytown Boiler building, which was where the condominium is now, and they started counting. And they didn't tell me they were doing it, but they came to my office, or I came here, and they had a sheet of paper that must have thrown all the way to the end here, because they did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, thousands of little dots. Do you remember that well? And they came to Regional Council Committee. And the region said, there's an election coming up, just give it to them. And that's how we got the traffic control signal. Your worship, it was a political decision. And the chance meeting when the Member of Parliament, Muriel Boulanger, and I were at a function, and he happened to be sitting next to Muriel's wife, who worked for the National Capital Commission, and he was talking about the CPR right-of-way, how it would be nice to have that as part of the campus. And she worked for the National Capital Commission, and what do you know, Lloyd Francis and the others, suddenly that became available, and the house and the church bought it. And that's where the parking is that we are all talking about now. And of course, you've heard the story about Frida Doherty and the raffle. They wanted to raise money. They needed to raise money. Other than the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation funds, there was no capital cost. They had to raise the money. So Frida and Tom Doherty decided that they would have a raffle of a Cadillac. And they didn't know that they had to have cash available in case they didn't sell enough tickets. So Tom and Frida mortgaged their house for the $25,000 they needed. Thank goodness there was enough money, and Irena's Mix, who lived in Unitarian House, bought the Cadillac. So there's a lot of stories, and there are a lot of wonderful stories, and I hope you'll get a chance to talk about them. I want to thank Sabine and Caroline and Melanie, of course, and the 40th Anniversary Committee. You've done a wonderful job. So somebody said to me, why are we celebrating 40 years? And I say, why not? In 40 years, we are still living the red lines on our logo. Take a look at your logo. The first line, 68 independent living apartments. The second line, 45 retirement suites. And finally, the third line, that's the Unitarian House community, both inside Unitarian House, on the campus, and the community at whole. So first, on behalf of the Unitarian Board of Governors, our residents, their families, the volunteers, and our staff, I thank you, and we hope you are proud of your offspring. We don't get older, we get better. And on that happy note, I'm passing on the chain of office to His Worship the Mayor. Thank you for joining us. I know that this is a busy day for you. Come on up, Mark.
Thank you, Jackie. It's such an honor to be introduced by my friend Jackie, my predecessor in this role. And I don't often get to speak from a pulpit, even though I am often referred to as your worship. But it's truly an honor to be here. C'est vraiment un honneur d'être ici ce matin avec vous pour célébrer le 40e anniversaire de l'ouverture de la Maison Unitarienne d'Ottawa. And Jackie, you've been such a great leader throughout our community, and I know how special this is for you and how much of a role you've played here over 40 years. And I grew up very close to here. I was a constituent of Jackie's when she was a city councillor, and my mother still lives not far from here. And I think she's still a constituent of Teresa Kavanaugh's. The boundaries have changed a little bit, but Teresa, great to have you here as well. And Teresa and I, by the way, I know everyone has concerns about the light rail project. Teresa and I are kind of playing hooky right now from an important committee meeting that's taking place at City Hall. I was there earlier, and I'll probably be rejoining it later, but I wanted to make sure that I could come and be with you this morning, despite that meeting that's taking place on the light rail project, which is giving us all more gray hairs. But it is truly special to be here today and to be part of this celebration, and I want to acknowledge all of the leadership here, in the congregation and in the organization and in the community, the founding members, the staff over the years, the residents, the relatives of people who have made important decisions that have helped to build Unitarian House. Thank you all for your years of dedication and leadership. Merci pour tous vos efforts. And you know, we're here to celebrate today, and it's not really about a building or buildings. It's not about the physical structures. It's about the community. Ultimately, it's about the people here. The leaders in the community, the residents, the members of the congregation, everybody who's been part of this journey over the last 40 years. This is a vibrant and caring community. This is a community that has touched so many lives over the past 4 decades. And back when it all started, I know there were probably not super ambitious expectations or ambitions, but there was a need that the founders saw. There was a need for seniors housing, and that wasn't something that there was a lot of at the time. It was very much in need. And so that need was turned into action, and the founders created a place where seniors could be surrounded by friends and laughter and endless opportunities to create cherished memories. And so Unitarian House has become so much more than a place to live. It's a welcoming and inclusive place where everyone is treated with dignity, no matter who they are or where they came from. The staff, of course, are amazing, and they go above and beyond expectations to meet the needs of residents. The residents themselves are such an important part of our city and our community. They share their stories, they participate in activities. I've heard there's been the occasional prank that's been played as well over the years. So Unitarian House really is a home. It really is a family. It really is a community. And there are some really important core values that come into play here every day. Core values like friendship and respect and innovation and accountability. And I know these values have guided Unitarian House now for 40 years, and they've shaped everything from the way everyone looks after each other here, the way you care for each other, and to the way you advocate for seniors' rights throughout the community. And this wouldn't be possible without the incredible efforts of the amazing people who have the vision to make it all happen. So I want to say thank you to the founders and builders of Unitarian House, to all the people who have shepherded this effort over the years. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your determination to continue providing excellent care to everyone who lives here. And with that in mind, it is my honor today to proclaim Unitarian House of Ottawa Day. So I'm going to read this proclamation. Whereas for 40 years, Unitarian House of Ottawa has been serving the housing needs of seniors in our community, and whereas since 1984, Unitarian House of Ottawa has distinguished itself as the only not-for-profit retirement community in Ottawa offering affordable housing for seniors. And whereas Unitarian House is celebrating its 40th anniversary and achievements with a spiritual celebration and a social gathering, and whereas Unitarian House of Ottawa is taking this opportunity to thank all the residents, volunteers, and community partners for their continued support, therefore, I, Mark Sutcliffe, Mayor of the City of Ottawa, do hereby proclaim May 31st, 2024, Unitarian House Day in Ottawa. There you go. So here's to 40 amazing years and many, many more years in the future. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Would anybody like to come up and officially receive this from me? Okay. Sure. Okay. Well, all right, I'll come down there.
too. Thank you, Mayor Sutler, for that very celebratory surprise. Home. It's a very small four-letter word with a myriad of meanings. For most people, the notion of home is central to their lives. By the same token, there is a multitude of definitions of the word, many of them personal and particular. Depending upon who you are, how you are, where you're from, the word home can have very different meanings. Probably the most quoted definition of home comes from Pliny the Elder, a Roman author and natural philosopher who died in the year 79 of the Common Era, who said, "Home is where the heart is." The American poet Emily Dickinson expressed this another way when she said, "Where thou art, that is home." And Maya Angelou wrote, the ache for home lives in all of us, a safe place where we can go as we are and not be questioned. Comedian, the late George Carlin, said, "Home is where your stuff is." And when you downsize from a house to a condo, and then from a condo to an apartment, which many of us here have done, you always end up getting rid of stuff. So that whatever stuff you end up with, the stuff you want and with which you have some emotional attachment, that is where you're at home. From a mega perspective, I think we would agree that the universe is our home. We are all part of this magnificent 14-billion-year-old universe with its millions of galaxies, each with its billions of stars, and each of us sitting here this morning is made of the same stuff that constitutes those stars. Indeed, we are all made of stardust, and stardust we shall return. For many, this world is our home. This earth with its mountains and valleys, its continents and oceans, its forests and deserts, this is home. For many, home means the land of one's birth, where we come from. For instance, here in Canada, we sing our anthem, "O Canada, our home and native land." But for many of us, this is not our native land. We hail from elsewhere. For example, that is why those born in Scotland and who have lived most of their lives in some distant land, whether it be Canada or South Africa or Australia or whatever, will always refer to Scotland as hame. This also applies to those from England and Ireland, and indeed for anyone who has moved away from the land of their birth. Canada is my home, and it has been since I emigrated here nearly 48 years ago. But when I last went back to South Africa for a 5-week visit in 2013, it was to return home. For all of us, home contains memories and emotional attachments. The fact is that home for many of us here this morning is now Unitarian House, not just the building that contains 1- and 2-bedroom apartments on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th floors, and bedsitters on the 2nd floor, but all the people who make Unitarian House truly a home, especially the staff and volunteers and all of us residents who call Unitarian House our home. This is our home, where we are accepted and loved as we are, warts and all, so to speak, and where we can reminisce and remember and make new memories in a loving community. This really is a blessed and graced place. Today, when we celebrate the 40th anniversary of the opening of this house we call home, we remember with affection and much appreciation all those who have lived here, all those who have worked here, all those who were responsible for the construction and maintenance of the building, and all those who in any way have helped to make this truly a home. We thank them, everyone. Unitarian House really is my home, and I'm very content. I now ask, we're now going to hear from some residents of Unitarian House, and the first one is Anne, who's now going to come to the podium. Thank you.
I don't know if this goes low enough for me. Pardon? But it makes such a noise. I've really appreciated hearing all of the presentations so far. Thank you. I was thinking, listening to Alex, I was thinking I got rid of an awful lot of stuff before I moved into Unitarian House, and I'm glad I did. I've got the stuff that really matters. My name is Ann Orfald. I moved into Unitarian House 4 years ago. I have made good friends here, and I value the sense of community that we enjoy. I greatly appreciate the dedication of all the staff who serve us on a daily basis, and equally appreciate the volunteers. There are more than you can imagine who enrich our lives and keep things moving smoothly. Today is a day to especially thank the people at First Unitarian who originally had the vision to create this unique retirement home. The mission statement and values of Unitarian House are included in the packet of information we all receive when we move into the home. So I read them 4 years ago, and I read them again recently because I was asked to speak to them. And I confess they are not at the top of my mind every day, and I'm probably not alone in that, but they are important. By the way, they're also in your program, or at least the mission statement is. They are posted by the elevators on the first floor at Unitarian House. So I invite everybody to take an opportunity sometime during this 40-year anniversary to read them again. And I'm not going to go through the whole text, but I would like to just highlight a few of the words that mean a lot. The mission statement speaks of safe, inclusive, respectful, and caring environment that encourages independence, personal fulfillment, companionship, and collaboration. Whether we read those words often or not, I believe that most of us contribute to that mission, whether we are residents, volunteers, or staff. And when we fall short, as we will, since we are human and imperfect, we make efforts to address the issues that arise. And I think that is as important as the words. As to the values statement, again, I am not going to read the whole thing, but I will just highlight a few of the words. The value of friendship and of mutual respect, the need for individual privacy, the value of all contributions of whatever kind that are made to enhance the well-being of our community, open communication, and accountability. Several people have already mentioned these things, but I think they're worth mentioning more than once. I really want to highlight the first value that's listed, though, and that it reads this way. We believe in and value the uniqueness and individuality of all who live, volunteer, and work in Unitarian House, the diversity of their cultures, their life experiences, and their need for personal safety and security. I wanted to lift that one up because that statement is so in sync with the first principle that guides this faith community, and that is respect for the inherent worth and dignity of each person. So today what I wanted to do was just point out that Unitarian House was founded on faith, not on a profit motive. And I believe that is what makes it different from any other retirement community. So for me personally, I thank the First Unitarian Congregation for its initiative 40 years ago. If it were not for their foresight, I, for one, would not be here, and I am glad I'm here. And closing with these words, may our souls capture this treasured time. May our spirits celebrate our gathering together in this time and in this space, for we meet on holy ground. Thank you.
Good noises. We meet on holy ground, brought into being as life encounters life, as personal histories merge into the communal story, as we take on the pride and pain of our companions, as separate selves become community. My name is Mo Gabe. I moved into Unitarian House in 2016. I had heard that it was a good place in which to live, and I liked its founding principles, such as being for a not-for-profit organization. I really didn't know very much about it, and I had never lived in a community before, but I was eager to try out the new experience. Now, 8 years later, I know a great deal more about this very special place and its very special people. Here we are supported by an excellent and dedicated staff. Here people helped me to cope after Eric, my partner of 60 years, died. Here I have found a group of new friends, and we enjoy coffee at 7 every morning. Someone has dubbed us the Morning Glories. At U House, I get an exercise program, walk in lovely gardens, and borrow books or jigsaws from the libraries. Residents and staff speak to me in the corridors, even in the elevators, and I am offered help if I'm unwell. I meet many kindred spirits, and there are plenty of pets to admire. I enjoy a variety of interesting activities and entertainments, and I work in a variety of volunteer roles. Extensive volunteering is one of the key features of this very special seniors residence, and it marks us out as unique in Ottawa. Volunteering leads us residents to feel empowered, useful, and engaged in life. And all of us benefit from the extra services and activities that result from our efforts. I feel so very lucky to live here, and I thank all of you. I hope to live here for the rest of my life, and I look forward to the next chapter. I wrote the following poem before I came to Unitarian House, but then I needed to modify it through the years to include my experience of living in this wonderful place and to use the past tense about some of my life experiences. The poem is called My Community. My community is my family, where I delight to see children and grandchildren grow and mature. My family is comfort, being at ease, being eager to share, listening, even occasional disagreement. It is memories of holding newborn babies, of picnics on beaches, of visiting the old country, of stories of long ago. It is warmth and togetherness. It is love. My community is a partnership where we fell in love again and again. It was 60 years of joy and pain and everydayness. It was remembering being students, newlyweds, immigrants, giving birth, running a household, being taught by our teenagers. It was healing each other, becoming grandparents, growing old together. As time went by, we listened to each other's aches and pains, did a leisurely crossword after breakfast, and made love infrequently, but with enthusiasm. We were two individuals who chose to weave their lives together. That is love. My community was a women's collective where we struggled to make consensus decisions. We raised consciousness about oppression and healing. We listened as women told their stories of rape and torture, and we experienced the magic of a healing circle. We empowered those who had been silenced. We spoke out. We made a difference. This too is love. My community is this home of warm-hearted people. It is helping each other and receiving support, conversation, entertainment, a caring touch, tending our gardens, watching a movie, greeting a dog. It's hearing Ted's music, enjoying a shared coffee, striving together at exercise class, and laughing together at happy hour. It is sitting in the summer sun in the winter of our lives. It is love. My community is living in times of pandemic. It is caring by distancing, covering our faces, enduring separation from those we love. It is learning new ways of reaching out to each other, appreciating our staff who do so much, believing and hoping for life in the future. It is offering help to those most vulnerable. It is love. My community is this land of northern lights dancing. It is mysterious cries of wolves and loons. It is lakes, forests, and mountains. It is a patchwork quilt of people, lonely or fulfilled, hurt or whole. It is peacekeeping, tolerance, and opportunities. It is love. My community, our community, is the universe. Amid the stars, we walk on the skin of Gaia. She is our mother, ourselves. We fear for her and hope for her. We try to do our best. We are becoming. We are love.
The choir will now sing Love Bring Me Home, Call Me Home. Please remain seated and please join in the chorus once you have learned it. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Such great voices. It's great to hear everybody singing together. We're here to celebrate our 40 years since Unitarian House welcomed its first resident. And I remember my first welcome, a huge welcome home sign, voila, done by Joyce Mason that filled my whole door when I moved in almost 5 years ago. And every new resident gets the same kind of sign. So you're just moving your junk in and there's this welcome. It's just wonderful. So thanks, Jan. I'm Marianne O'Hagan. My dog Toffee and I moved into Unitarian House in late 2019. We just got settled and COVID invaded our lives, looking at Christina, remembering. The lockdown gave me an early and intense experience of the community and caring spirit at Unitarian House. Although our freedom of movement was quite restricted, I never felt isolated. Because we were not allowed to leave the property, my exposure was to fellow residents as we walked time after time around the campus. What a novel way to meet people. I volunteered to help and was welcomed as a former nurse to get fully into protective garb, remember all of that, and assist the nurses with nasal swabbing of residents as we checked for the spread of COVID. Another unusual way to get to know faces that were usually behind masks, so people would have to take off their masks, so I got to see them that way. Since then, I have continued to be awed by the caring, concern, and creativity of fellow residents and our hardworking staff. I'm impressed by the dedicated volunteers from the broader community who make up our Board of Governors or are a steady presence at vital activities such as happy hour. I enjoy my volunteer involvements in book shelving, happy hour, and security. Unitarian House is our treasured home. And every home needs a dog, I say. Our dozen or so dogs add to the friendly home-like atmosphere we continually create and nurture. There are cats behind doors, and maybe even birds and fish, all part of making this house our home. And I am so grateful to be part of it. And here is my reading, Our Life Together. How desperate is our need for one another, our silent beckoning to our neighbors, our invitation to share life and death together, our welcome into the lives of those we meet, and their welcome into our own. We meet on holy ground and give thanks for those who, over 40 years ago, had the intuitive insight and vision to plan and build that which is our home. And we have acknowledged our founders. Werner is here, and John is here, and there's another member there. Bill is there. So thank you all. And I think them and all the other founders deserve another round of applause.
I'm Jan Glyde, and I've lived in Unitarian House for 13 years, 4 months, and 16 days. And I've been volunteering and participating to my heart's content the whole time. Jack Wright, my dearest departed spouse, and I lived together in Unitarian House for 4 years, until he moved to the Salvation Army Grace Manor long-term care home in 2015 to live out his final 2 years. So I've had time enough to learn that it's the best, the only place in the world for me to live out my remaining years, despite all those outbreak interruptions and ceaseless construction. Why? At Unitarian House, everybody is a somebody. Everybody knows your name. We are truly community.
where everyone's talents, gifts, and contributions are recognized and celebrated. We have incomparable staff who are not just really good at their jobs, but are also genuinely caring and compassionate, even at the most trying of times. And this is a perfect opportunity to thank you, our Board of Governors, for all that you do on our behalf. Then, of course, there's so much that makes Unitarian House such a hospitable home, great companionship, adorable dogs and cats, hugs, happy hour, laughter, music and singing, convivial meals and special events, lovely gardens, and an outdoors that is as inviting as the indoors. There's more. When asked how come residents at Unitarian House seem so young at heart, the answer isn't hard to find. Life at Unitarian House makes us feel glad. And I think I've discovered the secret of why we tend to live such long, happy lives here. We all, not all the time, because that would be creepy, smile a lot. Smiling is wisdom and has featured in medicine and meditation since ancient times, with plenty of modern science to back it up as a way to a healthier life, along with laughing, singing, walking, being in nature, sharing, and helping one another. For those of you who've already heard about my friendly obsession with smiling, patience, please, because I can't resist again sharing just these few quotations. Everyone smiles the same language. That's anonymous. Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile can be the source of your joy. Thich Nhat Hanh. Peace begins with a smile. Every time you smile at someone, it is an action of love, a gift to that person, a beautiful thing. Mother Teresa. Wear a smile and have friends. What do we live for, if not to make the world less difficult for each other? George Eliot. You can only hold a smile for so long. After that, it's just teeth. Chuck Palahniuk, author of Fight Club. As to the health benefits, I want to share some of what scientific tests have shown, details and citations of which you can find on the internet. Smiling changes our mood. It's difficult to stay peeved when you put on a smile. Smiling is contagious, and each time you smile, you throw a little feel-good party in your brain that you invite everyone to enjoy. Smiling relieves stress. Take a moment to smile, even a forced one, when you're feeling at your wit's end, and magically, you can feel better if you let yourself. Smiling boosts our immune system because it relaxes us and lets our immune system work better. Smiling lowers your blood pressure. Take your blood pressure when you're feeling cranky, then again after you've put on a smile. Chances are it'll be lower. I can attest to this. Ask me about it sometime. Smiling reduces pain. Studies have shown that smiling releases endorphins, other natural painkillers, and serotonin. Together, these brain chemicals make us feel good from head to toe. Not only do they elevate our mood, but they also relax our body and reduce physical pain. Smiling is a natural drug, and it's perfectly legal and we can use it whenever we want. Thank you to all of you for all your smiles and acceptance and good humor. You continue to give me a deep feeling of belonging that I treasure above all else. And now I believe, are we going to sing another song? Oh yes, When You're Smiling.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Castledine. You probably know me by my wife of 63 years, Sandy. She's here as well. We have 3 kids. We have 7 grands. And we moved into Unitarian House in 2013. Shortly after that, I joined the board of directors, and I'm still on the board. And one of the biggest claims to fame that I can make while I was early on the board, and one I'm particularly proud of, is that we kept the LRT off our property. Anyway, and now it's time to give thanks. And I'd like to start by saying we meet on holy ground to give thanks for the generous people who make this Unitarian House venture possible in an ongoing way. We'd like to thank all those involved in managing our home and those who provide the wonderful and nursing care.
Good day. My name is Suki Dunton. I moved into Unitarian House 3 years ago after 7 years of waiting for a space. It was in the early days of mourning the death of my dear husband, Jamie, when I received the call, would I say yes to a 1-bedroom apartment? It was the hardest decision, and in retrospect, the very best decision I ever made. For 10 years prior to this call, I have been a member of the Unitarian Church, a volunteer in the Memorial Meditation Garden, and a member of the Unitarian Grandmothers who raise money for the Stephen Lewis Foundation. I knew a few of the residents before I moved in. Since then, I have been a volunteer like a lot of other people for things such as happy hour at the front desk and the compassionate care group. I play bridge, enjoy movies, concerts, talks, coffee hour, and all of the many offerings that make Unitarian House the very best place for us, very best home for a senior to be. We thank the chefs and all who work in the kitchen and dining room for providing delicious and nutritious fare for our nourishment and enjoyment. We thank those who plan and provide the many activities that entertain us and broaden our minds.
We thank the maintenance staff who care for our physical home and surroundings. And we thank the many volunteers, residents, and family members who contribute to so many ways to make our life at Unitarian House.
And while giving thanks, we all also ask continued blessings on our home.
Thank you.
I will return to that phrase, Suki and Brian. We ask continued blessings on our home in just a minute. But first, Alex told me I had some final words to offer. You may not have noticed it, but I'm still a youngin'. In fact, I'm so young I won't even turn 60 until later this summer. And my wife, who just turned a couple years older than I will be, she and I have been talking about getting a little older every year and what we want for ourselves. And in all my years as a family member, grandparents, parents, and times of over 25 years serving in the ministry, making visits to senior living facilities of people I've come to love. I'm going to mix or maybe mash up a phrase here, but in my experience, the Unitarian House of Ottawa really is the jewel in Ottawa's crown. There is so much here to celebrate, so much to be grateful for, so much to keep alive for future generations of Unitarian House residents. The congregation has a lot to be proud of in Unitarian House, to respect and to say, what's next? So now let me turn back to what I said before, asking continued blessings on our home, Unitarian House. And in asking for continued blessings, let us not forget those outside the walls of Unitarian House, outside this wooded campus, and within, who still struggle with their own needs for shelter, for nourishment, and for healing of the body, mind, and of the soul. Let us once again pray. Be present here among us, Spirit of life and love. Be present within us. Be present within the walls of Unitarian House, our dwelling place and home for these last 40 years. That this home may be one where all darkness is penetrated by light, all troubles calmed by peace, and all evil banished by love and smiles. May the wild beauty of the Spirit of life, may the indwelling grace of the Spirit of peace, may the surprising mystery of the Spirit of love, be with us all and fill Unitarian House, our home. So may it be. Amen.
We're rapidly coming to the close of our celebration. And I want to thank all those who participated, to all those who spoke from this podium, to Pat McDonald for leading our choir, and to our choir composed of past, present, and future residents of Unitarian House. I want to thank all of you who came to share in our celebration, and a special thanks to Sabine, who's done so much to plan for this, to our receptionist, Carolyn Mendez, for designing the program, for resident Janet Beauvais for suggesting the special anniversary logo. And I want to invite all of you to, at some stage during our 40th anniversary, and perhaps during this coming week, to please go to our rotunda and see some of the memorabilia, the photograph albums, the memory books that are on display there, capturing what's happened at Unitarian House for the last 40 years. So now we come to our last song, Bless This House. The choir will sing it first, and then I invite you all to please stand and sing it with the choir, and that'll be the end of our celebration. Thank you so much.
Bless this one.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, thank you.
You guys want to wave to Unitarian House?
Yes. Wave at Unitarian House. Hello, Unitarian.
I went to a